Hello, welcome to the Human Experience podcast. My name is Sydney, and I have not posted in a while. And truthfully, I've been going through it. And the thing with me is that I'm very optimistic, positive. I love to spread love. I love to spread joy. I love to feel those feelings. Other feelings, not so much. I actually only watch feel good movies or shows. And now that I'm in LA and I'm starting to do improv and get into the world of acting and modeling and all the things, I'm with all of these people in the entertainment industry, and it's so embarrassing that I've seen 1%, probably not even close, 0.00001% of creative pieces that are out in the world, because I just hate feeling what I've labeled as negative feelings. And I just want to talk about this shit because honestly, one of the reasons it's taken me so long to realize that I'm actually not doing okay is because I always have my phone. My phone has become this crutch for me that, I'm asking myself this question as I settle into the fact that I've not been doing so great. Where have I even been? And I'm like, oh, I've just been scrolling on my motherfucking phone. And it is, I don't even know what to say about it. It's a struggle that I feel like is going to be with us forever and is only going to get increasingly more challenging. There was actually a guy today at the coffee shop. We were both journaling and reading books. And I was like, oh my God, cute, sweet vibe. If he were to ask me out or something, I maybe would have said yes. But then I saw the back of his sweatshirt and it was VR is my reality. And I was like, bro, I don't want VR to be my fucking reality. I don't want virtual reality to be my reality. I want to find a balance and believe that a balance can in fact still exist, and that humanity and the human experience is bigger and greater than the evolution of technology. That they can support one another, they can coexist, but that it can't replace human-to-human contact and being in touch with your inner world. And so I think this conversation is just increasingly more important, that we slow down and also just take action when we feel like it. Right now, there's a part of me that's yeah, just record this. Another part's maybe I should wait till I feel better. Look, there is no waiting for tomorrow. If you want to share it, share it. So I just got out of the bath. It's a Saturday night. It's 9:30 p.m. I'm so happy that I'm just fucking letting myself chill. And I'm just going to share a little bit about what's been going on. So basically, a few months ago in December, I signed a contract to be a part of a really high ticket mastermind. This was with a mentor and a coach that I'd been looking up to for years. I knew I wanted to join this masterclass. It was just a desire that would not go away. And eventually I decided to go all in. And it felt really good and it felt really exciting. And I was with my boyfriend at the time. He was investing in similar types of things, but he had a business where he was making a lot of money. I was just starting out with a coaching business. So no regrets, but I don't recommend you invest money you don't have. Some will say it's bold. Some will say it's stupid. I think it's really for you to decide and be honest with yourself of how are your, where's your financial literacy? How much money are you bringing in? What's your competency to maintain a work ethic that generates income and generates revenue? If I were to have been honest with myself about those questions, Would I have made different decisions? Perhaps. Regardless, I already feel stupid enough throughout this whole experience. It's one of those where, I had to touch the stove to know it was hot. Someone could say, don't put a lot of money on a credit card, but like I had to do it to understand how high interest rates can be and understand so much about credit cards. And I've learned so much through this experience, but essentially what happened is I started making these monthly investments. At first, I generated like almost $5,000 in my first month of business, which was really fun and really exciting. And I was like, let's fucking go. Like, I'm a master manifestor. Like, yeah. But then as the payments kept racking up, the lack of support I was realistically getting in the container, the lack of direction I felt in having discipline with myself, but even knowing what to be disciplined with, started adding up. Essentially, as my credit card quickly started to max out, I know what you're thinking. What the fuck? How did you max out so quick? Look, I don't want to get that deep into it. Okay, I'm still a little embarrassed. This happened 2-3 weeks ago. Still fresh. So my first thought was that, I know that there's 0 interest credit cards where you have like 18 months. What if I open up a new credit card, transfer the funds, and like bada boom, bada bing, I have some extra time to pay this off without interest. Immediately, we go to fill out the form to get a new credit card. Immediately rejected. And I was like, oh, fuck. Okay. Plan B, I have to tell my dad. For context, me and my dad are very close. I'm very grateful that he's been so supportive of me financially over the course of my life. And I did not tell my dad about this purchase and this investment because I knew he wouldn't approve of it. He's very logical, and I got a little bit too far. This is where I stand on this right now. Could this shift? Maybe. But right now, I feel like I got way too far into the spiritual side of life, a little detached from logistics, from like the 3D reality that we do in fact live in. So, bro, it was fucking rough, okay? I didn't want to tell my dad, but I had to. So I go, I tell him. It was one of the hardest conversations I've ever had with my dad. He was so pissed and so angry with me. And it was really challenging because, again, I don't like feeling negative emotions. And that's not sustainable in the human experience. At one point, this podcast was going to be called the Smile with Sid podcast. I still am tempted by that name from time to time because, maybe not for the podcast, but like for my Instagram, because I just have such a big smile. So it feels fitting. But the reason I went with human experience is because I know that smiling all the time, and as much as I love joy and positivity, it's like it doesn't even exist without the depth of the human experience, of the hard times, of the hard conversations, of like, you can only enjoy pleasure when you also understand discomfort. And someone said to me recently, what is your ultimate dream? And I was like, I would love for my podcast and for like my YouTube and the message I'm sharing to reach as many people as possible. She's like, okay, well, let's just say tomorrow millions of people are watching you. Then what? Like, let's say it were to happen overnight. And it made me realize, like, we think we want the destination or the outcome But really, we want the journey. It's not just about learning to enjoy the journey. It's about enjoying the journey, period. And then anything that happens on the journey. There is no destination. Like, I was just listening to a podcast about marriage. Like, you think that you're getting the ring, like securing a ring, but no, you're really like finding who do you want to live life with? Who do you want that partner to be that stands by you through the hardest things that we experience in life? Anyways, we've found our way into a tangent, a beautiful one, but nonetheless, let's refocus. I tell my dad, really hard conversation. I feel so fortunate. Like, I feel guilt around this, and I know that I get to shift from guilt to gratitude, and I feel immense gratitude as well. But there's an element of guilt that I just want to name, because my dad ended up sending me all of the money to pay off this credit card. And I'm now in debt to my dad, but at least now I don't have the interest. And it was just such a challenging situation. But like, as things started getting better, I was like, oh, okay, yay. Like, things always work out. I didn't take the time to just like stay in this slower pace of like, what am I doing? And hey, let's stay connected to ourselves. I just wanted to like run and fly and escape the negative emotions. Fast forward to now, so like 2-3 weeks later, I started having all these fun experiences pop up. But then I've just been really anxious. I've been eating a lot more, like stress eating. I've been eating in the middle of the night. I've been really obsessively looking at my phone. I've been feeling so disconnected. And my body has been really struggling with health shit. And I just keep ignoring it. Until recently, I had like, my ear was in so much pain. I was in a restorative yoga class and I had to leave. I genuinely thought I was having a heart attack because I take Adderall. And so, you know, with stimulants, it does make your heart beat faster. And because I wasn't taking care of myself, I was so exhausted and I wasn't listening to that. So I just kept taking Adderall instead of resting and just being productive and just like getting shit done. And I think I just started to sprint, like, okay, I fucked up with this financial situation. I need to get a job as fast as possible. I can't take breaks. I need to just like sprint. And then I started burning out and my health started reflecting it. And I went to urgent care the other day and I now have a double ear infection. And again, like, I say it in a way that brings lightness. And that's something that I really am passionate about, is like, how can we infuse lightness into the conversation of mental health, of the depth of the human experience? But maybe it's less about infusing light into the darkness and just creating space for the darkness. Like, letting the darkness see the light without needing to like throw a tutu on the depression and like dance with it, you know? Like, maybe a little bit of both, but like, you know, really being in it. And that's been my biggest struggle, is like letting myself be in it, understanding what it is to feel my feelings, to not ruminate, because rumination is in the mind, it's not in the body, it's not feeling your feelings, it's thinking about them. And really being able to feel them where they move through, and I don't feel like I'm collapsing into it or collapsing into a depression by letting myself feel my feelings, because I've never articulated that before, but I think that's part of why I avoid feeling heavy emotions is because I've had periods of depression, and my fear is that if I let myself feel remnants of what I experienced then like I might not be able to get out of it. And so really it's like building that trust and that love and that commitment to being a safe space for ourselves. And this is kind of a silly example. I started saying this earlier, but yesterday I watched the first Twilight movie. And I know what most of you are going to say. Twilight is not a scary movie. But for me, I've only wanted to watch feel-good things. And, there's creepy undertones and there's, like, killing. And sometimes I think of myself as, like, a very sensitive, emotional creature that, spare me from the darkness. But it's like, that's not fair to me. I thought that was, like, I used that as a defining feature of my personality, but really it's a limited view of myself because I am strong and I am resilient, and the more that I can create safety, the more that I can withhold, or the more that I can hold, period. And the thicker my skin can get and the, more resilient and protected my nervous system and my energy is. So there were parts of Twilight that I was like, oh, this is like kind of scary. I don't like the way I feel right now. I'm feeling the suspense. It's uncomfortable. And I was like, what if I just let myself feel that and didn't resist it? And it's often not the feelings themselves, but it really is resisting the feelings that becomes suffering. I think there's going to be a part 2 to this episode because there's so much that's been happening recently, and I think the biggest thing I've been missing sharing on this podcast is like really me holding the heaviness. So, oh, yeah, my heart is so tender. The last thing I'll say is that it's so interesting to me, like, on a conscious level, I'm so glad that me and my previous partner aren't together anymore. I know it wasn't meant to be. I know it's better for both of us that we're not together. And yeah, for whatever reason recently, my heart has just been feeling so much pain around that separation. And today I did a meditation where I really connected to my heart. And it wasn't just about receiving the joy from looking at the world outside of me, but it was feeling the love generated from within me. And I think it's easy for me to look around in my environment if the sun is shining and, I now live so close to the beach. Like, it's so easy to just look outside and say, oh my God, I love my life. But there's something different about looking within and saying, wow, I love myself. I also want to say, and then I will go, it can be so hard for me to cry. I feel like there's like an endless stream of tears that could come out of me, but it's really hard to get there. And I'm really passionate about men's mental health and having a conversation around vulnerability and openness and encouraging men to feel their feelings as well. And the things we like to teach on are always our biggest lessons. And I really feel for men, and I feel for myself, and I feel for all people that are not able to cry as easily. And I'm reflecting on it. When I was a kid, I cried a lot. Like, I remember actually getting called a crybaby. And now I never cry. I feel like I got made fun of for crying and being emotional, and I was like, all right, I'm not fucking doing that. So we're on the journey of unraveling and allowing the tears to flow, creating that safety within. And, it's all about enjoying the process. I actually have right here, it says, I trust myself and my process. And what was so funny about it is when I was recording that, or not recording, when I was writing that, my like perfectionism was coming out as I'm writing trust. And I'm like, this is so ironic, Sydney. Hilarious. So I will record a part 2 real soon. Thanks for being with me. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hearing my heart. And if this can support one person, I'm so grateful. If this can resonate with one person, I'm so grateful. I love you. I appreciate you. And I will talk to you so soon.